All right, so I'm just going to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SMART's Fast Forward Edu Summit, where we're pulling together the best of the best in resources, lessons, pedagogical ideas, training, and more for the ultimate learning mixtape. So we'd love to welcome all the educators, including our avid educators. Every teacher in every classroom can use the strategies that we learned today. My name is Jenny Mila, and I'm an instructional development manager from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. And during our session today, it features Jody Bean, a SMART senior professional development specialist from Portland, Oregon. So success in the classroom is connected to building relationships. Swing by this session for some easy wins to build community from day one. Get ready for laughter, some class spirit, while creating a safe and welcoming environment. So before we have Jody take over, we're going to run through a few housekeeping items. So depending on the device you're using, you'll either at the top or bottom of your screen will have a menu bar with a few options for interacting with today's presentation. So during the presentation, I'll be placing links and any additional information in the chat box. If you have any questions as we go, please type those in the chat box and I will either throw them in the flow with Jody or hold them to the end for the Q&A portion. Additionally, participating in a total of 3 sessions today will earn you a Blended Learning Rockstar badge. After the session, you'll receive an email with the surveys for the sessions that you attended, and 3 will link to your badge. Also, very exciting, we're going to have a drawing at the end of the session to win something, so please stay tuned. For those of you who are just joining, be sure to log in at hellosmart.com, class code 44720, and I will be putting that in the chat here in a minute. So I'm going to turn things over to Jody so we can dive into our session. You've got a friend in me.
Isn't that the best? If you guys can hear me, yes, Jenny, sound is good. All right,
Sounds
you guys
great.
can see my screen, right? So everybody is here. Oh my gosh, I've been so excited for this session for weeks on end, and I've just had so much fun thinking about who's going to join and what the session can look like. We have quite a big session, and I know some of you are like, hey, I'm just joining to get a feel for it, and then there's others that are going to dive in and jump in and do this with me, and I love that. So Jenny will put my class code to interact with the pages that I'm going to be doing. Just a note that you are going to be getting this presentation deck along with a whole bunch of other resources. So if you're looking at it going, gosh, I don't want to have to recreate that, I wish Jody would just send it to me, then we're going to do that for you. And also keep in mind that, this is a really great day in the fact that, many of us are missing that peer-to-peer connection. And that we usually get, right? And in the summertime at ITSD, we get to see all of our friends. And I don't know about you, but I'm really missing that connection, even though we are probably drained and we've had, the most crazy time, right? Navigating this uncharted territory. It's just more important now to connect with each other. So I am just so happy that you're here and I'm talking to someone. So obviously I've been stuck in my office for a little while. So thank you for joining us. As Jenny said, please interject, add some chats. If you have any tidbits, if you're a user of Smart Learning Suite Online, or if you're brand new, you know what? The baby steps are here. We only have an hour together, kind of. So there is going to be a lot of information, but I always tell my friends and my peeps, like, just glean onto 2 things and then put them in your back pocket, walk away, and then think about it tomorrow. So we're going to dive in and get started with this. But before we do this, I got to know who is in the house. I want to just share with you a little bit about myself so you know I'm not no stranger off the street. So this is my information that you see on the screen right there. Either take a snapshot, write it down. But my job, as Jenny said, is Senior Professional Development Specialist for SMART. And so I have the pleasure of working with teachers and administrators and everybody. So please email me or meet me on Twitter or at SmartPLN so we can help you with your journey. Just so you know, I was a former AVID elective teacher and I lived and breathed AVID. And so if any of you are AVID teachers, I'm doing my internal, I've got my claps going, I'm thinking about them, I'm celebrating with you. And I know that you've all been busy doing some professional development also. So if I were to say what my summertime jam is today, and I got to tell you, I've got a lot of summertime jams. My one right now, if you were to look at my Spotify playlist, is Tina Turner's The Best. That is my summertime jam. Now, in a second, I am going to ask you to think about your summertime jam. All right. So everybody start thinking, what is that last song or one song you can't get out of your head? But anyway, I'm glad you're here with me, and we'd love to see you on our social medias and, doing our hashtag Smart Champion and hashtag FFWDedu for Fast Forward Education Summit. So let's dive in. Okay, this is what we're doing today. Obviously, we're going to explore ways to have a positive culture together with our students and share ways to create that safe and welcoming community. No matter what the pathway, come fall. Like, can we just say everything, that growth mindset we always say yet, and we have to do now, okay, I can do this come fall. Like, that should be our new thing, right? Your resilience is amazing. The stories I've heard from my friends and talking to my family members who are teachers, I'm just so glad you've joined us today. So before we begin, let's get to know each other a little bit. So if you are in hellosmart.com at 44720, and I can pull that out, and Jenny's probably put it in the chat. Okay, so it pulls up right there. You're going to be my students for a little while. So I'm going to have you be on the perspective of what your students would see. And I'm going to be the facilitator, the teacher. So if you join me here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a workspace, but this workspace is a collaborative space where I'm going to have everyone in my class join us together. Okay. So I'm going to set it up in front of you just so you can see how easy it is. I'm going to do everyone on one team, which means that there are going to be quite a few of us in this one space. So we're going to do our best. It might get a little chaotic, but it's actually going to be a lot of fun. So here's what I want for us to do. As soon as this pops up, remember what I said? I want you to think about your summertime jam. All right. I want you to share with us in just a second what your summertime jam is. It could be just the name. It could be the, your playlist that you have. But the reason why I want to share this summertime jam is about a month ago, I found out that I was adopted, and I found out that I had a half sister. And I live in Portland, Oregon, and I grew up in California. And so the likelihood of anybody ever meeting me, out of an adoption is like, it's always occurred to me. And maybe some of you can relate. But what was really interesting is that through a DNA, she found me and we got to connect. Now, here's the blow away your brain. She just moved to Portland during COVID. She now lives 15 minutes away from me. What? Like, this is like the craziest thing. So of course we have to meet. Now, why am I telling you this during the session? Number one, I want you to do a little connection with me. But number two, I've already learned so much from Amanda. And that is, you know what? Everything she does in her life is she lives her moments through music or through a song. And so everything she does has a playlist. And so, like, when she is cooking dinner, she has a certain playlist. When she is camping, she has a certain playlist. When she met me for the very first time, within minutes after she left me, she sent me a playlist of songs that she felt were important between her and I. And I thought, how cool was that? And so I want to know, to make that connection, what is your summertime playlist? Oh, and by the way, this is going to be my next playlist. Whatever you put on this workspace is going to be awesome. Oh my gosh, beautiful trauma. I was actually just listening to that the other day. Happy. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that song.
So many great songs.
What's going on? Oh my gosh, Marvin Gaye. That is going to, Rain on Me. Boys of Summer, of course. Of course, Boys of Summer has to be on there. Kenny Chesney, right? Anything from Zach Brown Band. Dance Monkey. I was kind of listening to that. It's got a really good vibe. Okay, we're all going to make a playlist. I'm sending it out to you. I'm putting these all on. But man, you guys have some, I don't know this one. Hamilton. Oh, let's start quoting Hamilton. I would want to be in the room where it happened. You guys are in the room where it happened. So thank you so much. I'm going to actually move ahead. So now I know who's in the room and how crazy you guys are. So this is awesome. We've got some Beyonce going on. That's really fun. So think about this. Think about what you could do with your students. This can be in face-to-face. It could be in a hybrid blended learning situation. So thinking about blended learning, there's so many different things that, we say about blended learning, but, blended learning, I just want to kind of put it out there, is everything that you see on the screen is what we can do within that blended learning environment. And one thing that comes to mind when I think of blended learning is giving our students that choice, right? Through that participation, either face-to-face or online, where they have some element of control, like for where they choose to learn, the pathway that they're going to choose, the pacing that they're going to have, and, with that asynchronous approach, which means that students don't always have to be face-to-face to learn, right? And you probably have experienced that in the last couple months with some of your students. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to explore some activities that you can take away and glean ideas from, right? And you're going to get this file, just a reminder. And I want you to join me in these fun activities that you can use that first week of school, whether you're face-to-face or if you are synchronous, online, or asynchronous, all right? So that's what I'm gonna do. What I wanna do right now, though, is I'm gonna divide my screen in half, and I'm going to actually have the teacher view on one side, and then I'm gonna have the student view on the other side. And so this is where you guys showed up, when you did the Hello Smart. And I'm going to go ahead and join it as a guest in my own class. And my class code is 44720. By the way, your students will learn this like that. And I'm going to go as Seesaw, because if you are on the call and you know me and you know my connection with the Smart Monster Seesaw, it totally makes sense. But Seesaw is my favorite monster. And I'm going to go ahead and join. And when I do that, you should be in my class and you should see the exact same screen as I have. And right now I'm in teacher pace, which means that if I turn the page on the left-hand side as a teacher, the student view will also go as a sequential order. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move it on over. And if you have joined us, and I see there's quite a few of our friends, one of the most important things to do to build those relationships and that community building is to kind of get to know your students. And there's lots of different formats to do a student interest survey, like, just paper and pencil, right? But if you're in that online scenario, I'd like to offer the idea of doing a student interest survey in Smart Response. In Smart Response, getting to know you is really important for your students. It's really fun. I'm going to go ahead and start this. I might not let you guys finish it, but I want to show you how you can make your workflow for your students and for yourself just streamlined in Smart Learning Suite. I don't have to go out to another tab. It all lives within Smart Learning Suite online. So I'm going to go ahead and start this student interest survey. So go ahead and have fun with it. And then you're going to see your screen change. And it says your teacher has started this. On my left-hand side is what the teacher can see. Now you don't have, this is all web-based. So I can be sitting in my office at home like I am right now, or I could be in my classroom looking at the results. Students are going to be able to pick whatever one they want. I can see a percentage.
Hey, Jody.
Yeah.
So someone asked, response only works for synchronous learning, correct?
Correct. That's right. So this activity, and actually the next activity, needs to be synchronous. So if you're doing a online remote training or remote teaching opportunity and it's synchronous, this is a great one to have. If you're face-to-face, this is a great one to have too. I'm going to show you other ways to, not have to do it asynchronous or synchronous. And I'm just going to fill that in. I'm going to pop over to the student or the teacher side right now, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I could do this with my students while I'm in a Zoom or Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or whatever avenue I'm using the platform. And I can actually show my students what are some of the responses that they have, and I can show live responses as we're going through. So this is a great conversation because it says pick your top activity that you love to do outside of school. Well, there's a lot of people in dance, but there's a lot of others. So that might be something I want to dig deeper in and find out, what are you doing? Because there's a lot of things that our students are doing that maybe we're not familiar with. And so we want to build those relationships by asking those questions. Check this out. Your one word, if I wanted to, let's see if it's going to show up. I can actually do a word cloud. Let's see if it's going to show up for me. As you're entering your word, I would be able to see the word cloud, and I'm not able to see it right now. So we're going to just imagine this word cloud. So I'm going to go into the list view. So as students are adding that one word that describes them, I can have and generate this word cloud. And so the kids love to see it in live action. They get one option to put it in. I love that someone wrote, oh, 2 people wrote silly. Charismatic. That's right. Creative, happy. So we can go through each one of these and have this learning inventory. Let's see this word cloud. Okay. And how easy is this to get some information and survey from my students? Are there any questions about a SMART response? And by the way, the SMART response takes multiple choice, true, false, multiple answers, poll an opinion, and then the short answer. Okay, that's what will make the word cloud, is if you write questions, and then also take images, as you can see in here. Any questions on that? Yeah.
Someone asked, will it save the answers for you later?
Absolutely. In fact, let me just show you. I'm going to actually end this activity right now. And I'm going to go ahead and review. And I can do this with my students if I want, or I can actually, let's see if it's going to work for me. It might have just froze. But it will actually export into a Excel sheet, and I can have that, and I can, look at who got answers right, who got answers incorrect. I can see there's a word cloud. Did you just see how that happened? There you go. Isn't that cool? Right? And if it's actively going, it'll work. But I can go ahead and have and export the results. Does that help, Jenny?
Yes. So
Okay.
a couple other questions while people were, can you see the answers before the kids click submit, or do they have to be completely finished?
So is it on the student side? So students will see their answers in a little window, and then they'll say, are you ready to submit? And so they can go back and review their answers before they submit.
Awesome. Thank you, Jody.
Does that help? Okay. So doing a student inventory is like a no-brainer. It's fun to do. It's not hard. I think I mean, you don't want to make it too big, but I'm going to actually move off this page and hopefully see if I can move. Okay. So I'm going to actually log out, go back out. And I'm going to bring it up in my other tab. So you guys are now going to, let me try. Tell me if you see this other screen. Bring it up. I'm going to continue. You guys aren't going to be connected to my class right now. I actually had to change browsers. If you're in the Hello Smart, you won't be able to do it. So I'm actually going to minimize this too. We have a lot of friends joining, and that's a good thing. Okay. Okay, are we good? Okay, this one right here, let me see. I'm going to try one more time. If I can get it going. Okay. We have plan A, plan B, and plan C, just in case Smart Learning Suite or my Chrome, goes away. So hang on there. Okay, I think we're back in business. All right, so this next activity is also one that you would want to do synchronously. It's a shout it out. This activity, I could do a whole training on shout it out, how to use it as an entry ticket, how to use it as an exit ticket, how do you use it in the middle of class, right an instant that you want it. But as you can see right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this down. I'm going to bring back up my student. And so now this is a shout it out. Now here's what I want to do. And I thought this one would be really fun to do with the whole group here. And that is you're going to shout out. And there's going to be two categories when this happens. And I'm going to go ahead and start it. On your device, you're going to see a little window. And then you're going to see a little category. If you click on the category, you can't live without it. Now, I want you to think like this. Don't think school, just think globally. Like it has everything to do with, I cannot live without it. And then on the other one, this can disappear forever and never be seen again on the planet. All right. So I want some smart responses from Shout It Out. And over here on the teacher side, you can see that we definitely have some things that we can't live without. I don't know about you, but I can't live without my black furry slippers. Like if you see me, I have my black furry slippers on if I'm in my house. I wish I could wear them everywhere, but I can't live without them. And I've had them probably for 20 years. So I can't live without them. What I can wish that would disappear, I live in the Pacific Northwest and we have banana slugs. Have you ever seen a banana slug?
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I could actually do a shout it out of images of banana slugs later, but yeah. So let me show you. So it might be a little bit small. So if you're doing this with your class synchronously, it might be a little small for some of you. So if you want, you can pop on one of them. I think coffee's in there quite often. Oh, beach. I haven't been to the beach and I live in Oregon. We have a beach, but they're still closed. I actually debated on if I should do a candy. Coffee. And you can see I can go through them. Family. I love it. Music. Thank you. Music. Coffee. A lot of coffee. And if this was in a normal, classroom situation or online, you wouldn't have as many, attendees doing this. So it would be easy for you, or if you were in the classroom, you could have students come up and sort them and like put everything that's in coffee and then you could graph it. I mean, there's so many things you could do with Shout It Out. All right, I got to go find out what could disappear because this one's going to crack me up. First of all, hey, can I get an amen on that one? Cockroaches? Amen, man. I'm all over that. Okay, should we count how many times COVID is on here? Oh my goodness. 3, 4, 5. Oh, yep. That's a good one. Viruses. We'll count that one. Earwigs. I kind of remember those. I don't think we have them. A lot of them. I know I had a lot in California, but not here in Oregon. Poison ivy. Oh, yeah. Hopefully you don't have it right now. Now, here's the fun thing is that if this was in my class, I actually would be able to tell who my students were. So I would know who'd be doing the contributions. Or in the other way, if I want to ask a delicate, sensitive question that maybe I don't want students to know who is responding, over here on the left-hand side, I could easily go over to the gear, and right here it says display names. I can turn it off instantly. And now it kind of levels that playing field for my students to be able to access whatever they want. But yet I, as a teacher, still know who actually contributed that. Okay, mosquitoes, grapefruit allergic. Yeah, that makes sense. Oppression. You guys are great. Could you imagine having this conversation like in your classroom with your students after this summer? I mean, that right there is a way to really understand and start that culturally responsive teaching and the best practices. So thank you. All right, that's really fun. So we know what we can live with and what we can't live with. So thank you for doing that. All right, so the rest of the activities I'm going to share with you are activities that you can automatically do asynchronous. So one of the things I know to be true is that in that whole relationship building idea at the beginning of the year, there's a lot of things that are going on under the current, on top of it, and we're intentionally building these relationships. We're looking at the relational capacity of where our students are, because they're all coming in at an entry point of that, feeling safe, feeling that they can trust people. And so one of the really fun things about the beginning of the year is all the relationship building activities that you do, because there's just so many. And one of them that I do in my classroom for the first couple of weeks is, as I'm walking around talking to my students, I'm having these really different conversations with my students. And so I go up to a student and I'm like, oh, I love your shoes. What size are they? And, of course, they're like, oh, they're size 8. And I'm like, oh, wow, I wear size 9. Oh, my gosh, I love shoes. That's my favorite thing. I love to, shoes are my thing. Oh, what did you have for lunch today? Oh, well, my favorite is Chinese food. And then, we're giving out all this information about ourselves, and the students are retrieving, and then they're also giving information about themselves. And so, of course, one of the fun activities that you could do in Smart Learning Suite Online is do a whole activity about yourself. Now, this I created as a super sort. The great thing about super sort, if you want to start it on this side, on the student side, is that you can actually customize it. So you can have some really fun pictures in there. It could be math facts. It could be a famous quote from a unit that you're doing. It could be all your formulas you're using in math. Which one would it be? So you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to a super sort. And how a super sort works is that it's just like, kind of like, is it this or that, right? And so after a couple of weeks, I might pull this up and have my students see how well you know Miss Bean. And so is it a fact or is it fiction? And so if they've been listening for the last couple of weeks and we've been having these really casual conversations, they're going to pick up on some information. And even if they didn't, they're going to know it by the time they do this, because they can do it as many times as they want. So if you're looking at my screen, like, fact, does Miss Bean have 3 dogs, or is it fiction? I'm going to tell you straight up, I have 1 dog. Loves shopping for shoes. You guys just heard that. I hope you all know that it's a fact. You should see my closet. It's the best. And I own it. I own my problem with shoes. I love it. So I'm all over it. But I still love my black furry slippers the best. I'm just saying. Favorite subject is math. You know what? I was an ELA social studies teacher. I did teach math for a while in elementary, but I have to say that is a fiction. And you can see how this goes, right? So my favorite football team is a fact, 49ers. Booyah. All right. So have some fun with this. At the end, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create this activity, and then you'll be on your way to having your own. Are there any questions, Jenny?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions about, so the students would need 2 windows, one for the live meet where they can see the teacher screen, and one with the smart so they can answer. So a lot of questions about seeing dual screens and what students have to do. Do they have to have 2, tabs open, or 2 screens? How does that work?
So that's a good question. So it depends on how you want to do it. So yes, you would have your Zoom meeting and open in one, and then you would have Hello Smart in the other tab. If you want your students to participate in the activities. If it is asynchronous, right? And so let's say you're going to have your students do this on their own time, their own place, their own pace, and they can decide which, that personalization, which side they're going to do. All you have to do is, and I'll show you before we end today, where you go and get a student link, and then you can post your Smart Learning Suite online files inside your LMS, Google Classroom. We now, as of yesterday, technically, we now have a Microsoft Teams integration. So if you are a Microsoft Teams user and your school district uses that, we now have an app built within Microsoft Teams that is an easy access for teachers and students. Okay, does that help? So just remember, all of the activities from this point on are all activities you can do to build relationships asynchronously, or if you want in your classroom too. Okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next activity. And this one I really love for the younger grades, but so the older grades, I just want you to know that as we're going through this, I want to show you the teacher side. And notice all of my students are showing up on the left-hand side. I can see all of them. My student, Seesaw, who is on the right-hand side over here, has access to this page. Now, I want to pause right here because I want you to know that this is a page that could have been made in PowerPoint. It could have been made in Google Slides. It could have been made in Notebook. And so all of those pieces right here go smoothly into Smart Learning Suite Online. And all I have to do is convert it into a handout, which is a digitized copy for each of my students, or I could have made it into a collaborative workspace like we did a little bit earlier. So this activity here is, if you're familiar with that relationship building.
Hey, Jody, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a good question I want to put out there before
Absolutely.
we get into this. Somebody asked, if you're using Teams, they don't need 2 tabs. I just need to clarify.
So here's the thing. The teacher does not need 2 teams. Now, if you want your students to join, you have to go to that second tab, hellosmart.com. But the teacher will stay within Teams, if that makes sense. Students will always go to hellosmart.com and join with the class code.
Thanks, Jody. Go ahead and continue. I apologize.
Okay. Yep. No, that's really good to know. So 2 tabs open at the moment right now. So that hopefully clarifies that.
Yep. It seems like, Victoria, that was her question, and seems like she got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. So 2 tabs open. And I have I work with students, and you guys know that a lot of them don't have an issue with tabs, but you have to kind of think about how many tabs open can a student get, right? And so in this case, it would be just hellosmart.com. And then if you are synchronous and you're in some sort of format like Zoom or Google, then you would have that tab open too. So,
thank you.
Right, okay, so here you are. I see all of my friends in here, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Now on the right-hand side is my student, Seesaw. And so now what they get to do is they get to build a squiggle, and these are all infinite cloned. And so as they're building this squiggle, of course, it's a glyph, we're going to be able to know by the picture kind of what their interests are. And so would you rather be a bird or a fish? All right. Would you rather eat pizza or pancakes? Yeah. Do you have a pet? And you know what? I might put one for each one of my pets I have. Do I like to play? I like to play inside or outside? Outside, thank you. And then you can actually, I guess those are legs and these are arms. So I'm going to rotate these. But you know what? Kids are going to be creative and do whatever they want, right? So you can see right here what they can do. And how fun is that? Now we have a little bit of a, informational visual of what our students are. And then, of course, they can take the text tool, or if you have little ones, they can write it the best they can. Maybe it's just their name and how they want to be called. Like my name is Jody and I want to be called Joe. They can put that down here. There's also a text box down here, but you can just see how easy it is to be able to change any page that you have into a handout and digitize it for our students. I want to point out one more thing. When a student is done, when they're doing a handout, notice there is a button in the upper right-hand corner. Students can be working whenever they are in their own student pace. When they're done, they click done. There is a green check on the teacher side as students that are done. Now, you can visit any student's work anytime, even if they don't have a check, if you're a teacher. So you can drop in anywhere. And I'm going to drop into Amy. Oh, yes. Look at, so I can tell that she wants to be a bird. She would rather be a bird. I can tell that she loves pizza just like me. This is so great. I can see that she does have some pets and she likes to be outside too. So look at all the information I could get. If I wanted to, as a teacher, I could actually do some feedback or real time and say, this is awesome. I can add a little note on here. Can't wait. And I can change it. I can move it wherever I want it. I'm going to move that down here. And then I can add different comments to my students that if I wanted to. If I have a touch screen, I could add some comments with the pen, but I have so many options. I'm going to drop into one more of my friends down here. Let's go down here. Check you out. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? Lunch. That's their favorite. Okay, what if everybody wanted breakfast, lunch, and dinner? That'd be okay, right? I don't see a problem. You could have a crazy squiggle by then. But anyway, just see how this could be with your students and how building that relationship. And then, of course, if you are in class or in a remote setting, students can, you can share and open up each one of these and say, hey, Lori, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Or Jolene, I love what you did. Can you introduce yourself? And now students have kind of a safe place to start that conversation with their squiggle. Okay. So that's a little bit on the squiggle side. Now, there is another activity that's similar, but it might be more suitable for building the relationships for maybe your intermediate or secondary students. As you change your screen, again, I'm going to see all of my students in their handouts on the left-hand side as a teacher. I can drop in anytime I want. This activity, when I taught sixth grade, was probably one of the activities my students absolutely love to do on the smart board. And now that I am, more of a remote, I took that same concept idea and I added it to a page. And so what's really fun about this is that I can do this on the fly with a blank page and my students are just in the Zoom conference or whatever, and I can just add a blank page. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But what the students do is they pull it around. And so you see this little, it looks like a ladder in my head. But, oh, wait, I changed my mind. It's a mean face with lots of teeth. And so now what the students can do is they can take that image and they can turn it and make it whatever they want. They can add their pen drawings on here, change the thickness, add some eyes, and they can actually do this and then they can share this. What I love about this activity, even though you're like, oh, I changed my mind, it really is helping our students become flexible. We are, giving them an opportunity to go, hey, wait a minute, I changed my mind. And that's a great way for us to practice that flexibility and that growth mindset while having a lot of fun with it. So why don't you play with it for just a second? And don't forget to push done. And let's see what some of your really fun activities have turned into. I've changed my mind. And for those of you sitting at home, the wheelbarrow or the wagon is, let's see if I can grab it. I don't know if I can. If anybody else can grab it, let me see if I can go into somebody else's. Okay, this one right here. I changed my mind. It's a funny hat with a feather. I changed my mind. It's a silly animal. Okay. Oh, I love some of what you're doing already, but you get the idea of that. So students can have that. So any thoughts on that? How easy is this? So let's say you're like, hey, I want to continue this activity and my students are really loving it and it's really helping us build that community. And so what you can do is while you're in Smart Learning Suite online in the teacher, of course, over here, look over here on the left-hand side, there's a little plus button. If I click right there, I can add a blank page. Check this out. How easy is this? On the teacher's side, I have this blank page, and if I write on it, check it out. My students are going to see it too. So I can draw a squiggle, and it will show up on my student's side. Now notice, if you're my student right now, you have no way of interacting with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm on the fly going to open up my class management tool, and it gives me the opportunity to change it into an individual handout, kind of what we've been doing, like everybody gets their own digitized individual copy, or I could create a collaborative workspace and I want students to create something. I'm going to keep it an individual handout. And now you as a student have access. And now let's see what you can come up with. I changed my mind. What is this going to be? And so this can be something that you do to build your relationships and have some fun. Everybody loves those squiggles, right? And I can drop in and see on all of my students over there. Any thoughts? Anybody can see how this can work in a secondary classroom when you're getting to know? We're all good?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I've used this already with some of my students.
How have you used it?
So we use it with kind of drawing together, and yeah, mostly it's just about kind of getting everyone a little bit more creative and getting to know each other.
That's nice. I love that. And there's so many things. You can pose a question on there, right? On a blank page.
It's really
and it's easy to use. So it's just so simple to pull in a blank page or have something like a PDF that you've used already. Like if you are going through your files in the next couple of weeks to start your school year and you find that PDF that was paper and you're like, dang, I'm starting remote. I wish I could use that. All you have to do is import it into Smart Learning Suite online, and I'll show you how easy it is. So thanks for sharing. Okay, we're going to move on. Now, everybody, you've all done these activities where people, like the kids go around and bring something in a brown bag, right? And then they pull out the items that represent themselves. Well, if you are face-to-face, you can, obviously that's really fun to do. And there's a whole bunch of different activities you can do to build a relationship. But I thought it would be fun for students to be stranded on a desert island. And so what 3 things would you bring and why? So this isn't a matter of just pulling up images. Now, one of the things I want you to know about when students are in Smart Learning Suite Online, they don't have to go open another tab to go get their images. We don't have to worry about, the filtering. Within Smart Learning Suite Online, over here, the 4th icon down, if you click on image right here, if students have their own device and they have their own images, they can bring in their own image. If they have online images, I might say, looking at them, these are safe search. And I'm going to say that I couldn't live without my running shoes. And then I would bring in a text and say why. I might add some things, but I can do whatever I want with the images, and I know that it's going to be a safe search for my students. And I am a visual person, so me seeing the visuals of my students helps me connect with them, and it also gives me more information that helps me with those relationship building ideas. I also thought this would be a fun activity to do in small groups. If you have a small enough class, they would have to discuss together what 3 items they would bring and why. And so this can go so many different directions, but it's just one of those other activities to build on your way. All right, here we are. We are going to check out of the student perspective. You guys have been my students, so I want you to follow what I'm going to do next. What I'm going to have you do is I want you to leave Hello Smart. I need you because you are teachers, and I want you to sign into your teacher account. I want you to go into the upper left corner of your Hello Smart tab, and I want you to click on the pancake, the hamburger, the 3 horizontal lines, whatever you want to call them. I want you to click on that, and then I want you to leave my class. Okay? Now what I want you to do is down at the very bottom, if you scroll, if you're on a device, are you a teacher? You can click on that, and you're going to get to a window that looks like this. I want you to go ahead and sign in. Now, if you're a Google district, you're going to sign in with your Google credentials. If you are a Microsoft school district, you're going to sign in with your Microsoft, okay? If you already have an account, it's already going to recognize you, but if you're brand new, it's going to take you through a quick wizard. And I want you to join me in your own Smart Learning Suite Online, okay? So I want you to get there. Now, here's what I want for those Google people. Everybody pause. If you are a Google user, I want you to come with me for a second and go on a quick field trip, because you're going to enter Smart Learning Suite Online very differently. You're going to actually go through your Google Drive. So I want to show you that. If you're not a Google user, go in through suite.smarttech.com, and Jenny can put that in the chat. Okay, so Google users, you're going to have the mindset of you and how do you conceptually understand your Google Drive. It's exactly the same thing. We've made it really simple for you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into your Google Drive. Now, to get to Smart Learning Suite Online for the very first time, or whenever you want, you're going to click New, you're going to click More, and then you're going to click the Smart Learning Suite app. Now, if you're in your personal email, you're not going to see the app because it has to be turned on by your district administrators. Okay? So if you don't see that app right now, then put it on a note that after this, you want to talk to your leaders and administrators to get the Smart Learning Suite app initiated in your Google Drive. Once you click on that app right here, Smart Learning Suite Online, it's going to take you to a window that's going to look like, and I'm going to go right here, go out of here. It's going to look something like this. Okay? So everybody should see something like this. If you are in suite.smarttech, you're going to have a library. And this is where all your Smart Learning Suite files are going to live. If you are a Microsoft Teams, and you're going to do the Microsoft integration, which is live, you just can go inside. We actually have a Microsoft Teams Baby session that is getting recorded, and I highly recommend it if you're a Microsoft district to see how that works. So hopefully you're all here. If you're not, don't worry, it's going to be recorded, and I just want to show you how easy it is for you to create some lessons. And then if you are in, I would love for you to build side by side with me. Feel free to click away, and you're probably already doing that. Feel free to just click and do what you want. But if you're not a button pusher, I'm going to show you how easy it is to build a super sort about yourself. So if I want to start a Smart Learning Suite Online from scratch, I can go right up here to Add Activities. Now, this is a really powerful page. You have so many options. One of them right here is that you can actually import any resource you already have, any content that's already been created. And Suite.SmartTech, you can upload notebook files, PowerPoints, and PDFs. Okay, that right there is a game changer. Now, if you're in Google, you can upload your Google Slides, your Google Docs, PowerPoints, PDFs, anything that you have already, you can do the same thing. And it'll tell you right here, and you would just click on this button right here. Okay, so I'm in here. Check this out. There is a YouTube embedded, commercial free. It does not open in another tab, and there are no commercials around it. It lives in your Smart Learning Suite online file. So I highly recommend taking a look at that. All right, so right here where it says game-based activities, click on this little guy right here. We call him Gizmo. I want you to click on them. You're going to get a window that looks like this. What's beautiful about this is that you might go, I have no idea what these games are. Well, we've helped you with that. So if you click on this little magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner of each one of the games, you're going to get a simulation. And this simulation is going to kind of show you what this activity can look like. What I want to challenge you to do is not get hooked on the visual, the simulation. Think about how this could look in a high school geography class or a foreign language class. Look at how this can look. You have you can change everything you want in this and then just kind of try it on your own. Okay, so you have that. So just clicking can show you what you can do. I'm going to do a super sort. And so super sort is at the very bottom. So that get to know your teacher, it's right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. You can do that with me too. I want you to have something you can take away and use it that first week back. And what's better than to do something about yourself, right? We know it ourselves. Now on mine, I actually did my picture and I did that all on my own. I'm not going to do that in this this file right here, but just so you know, when I get to a certain point, you can see that I can add pictures all along the way. So I'm going to do fact and fiction, or it could be true, false, whatever. So now I'm just going to start typing in facts about myself. Make sure you put it on the right side. Of course, I love shoes. Okay, and I'm going to put a couple of fictions over here. And by the way, I do have 8 children. That one they never get right, I'm just saying. So I say I have 4 children. I have 3 cats. Okay, you get the idea, right? So I'm going to go ahead. I can add more and more. So these could be facts. These can be definitions. It could be an introduction to something. You can have whatever you want in the super sort. Here we go. This is where I have so much fun. So we have all of these different themes here, and we have a simple one, just so if you are like a SPED teacher or a high school and you're like, you know what, I really want just a plain background, we got you covered. What I want to point out, though, is over here, if you want to add your own images, take a picture of you going, right? You can do that. You can do that, or have pictures of the smart monsters, whatever you want. All you have to do is click customize, and then next, and then it'll take you through what you want to do. Okay? I'm not going to do pictures. I'm going to do garden, and I'm going to say finish. It's going to populate in the edit mode. And so I have it. I can preview it. Let me take a look at it. Oh, that looks so, oh, how cute is that, right? This is so fun. I want to add more, though. So I can do that later by just going right here and clicking on the edit button. Okay. Now I have one activity that I have right here. I can actually, while I'm in my editing mode, I have this little blue button in the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm going to click it. Does this look familiar? Right? I can add more things to this activity. I can add a YouTube. I can add a ready-made activity like a reflection page at the end that's already just ready, and I can just put it right in. So I'm going to do 1-minute paper. I can manipulate it, move it, but I want everybody to do a 1-minute paper of what they know about Miss Bean and what's one thing they're curious about still, right? Okay, so how easy is that? So let's say this file is all done. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to present it with my students. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click out of this finish. I'm going to give it a title first. I'm going to call it Get to Know Miss Bean. That's me. All right, I'm going to finish editing. Right here, and now Google users, after you're done, it's going to take you right into the presentation mode. If you get out of it and you go away and then let's say another week you come by, it automatically made in your Google Drive a SLS folder. It probably is living in there, but you can move your files just like you do any file in Google Drive and put it wherever you want it to live. Okay. When I am ready, I'm going to present it to my students either in class face-to-face, or I can have them up at the board, or I can have them on their individual devices, right, sitting at their desk. I'm going to invite my students to open up a tab, hellosmart.com. And the way that I know that is because in this class management tool at the top, I click out. Here, it will always be there. And students always go to hellosmart.com. Pre-K has done it. High school done it. My university students do it. They can do it. They enter the code 44720, and now they're in my class. And now they can go ahead and start this activity. If I want it to be student-paced, or I want to send it off to my students, so that they can do it on their own, like in Google Drive, or I want to put it in my Microsoft Teams as an assignment. I'm going to want to get a student link. So where I'm going to go Now, one more time, Google users, if you want to get a student link, you do exactly what you do when you're in your Google Drive. You can right click on that file and then get a shareable link and then do what you want with it. Microsoft, here we are. Down at the very bottom, there are the three, I call it the snowman or the more button, and you have share a link. Okay, once I open it up, I actually have two choices. I can share a link with my colleagues. It is different than the link that students get because when a teacher gets it, it goes right into their SLSO teacher account or their Google Drive. Students, on the other hand, it opens up directly into student mode and all they have to do is sign in. So I'm going to go ahead and get a student link. I'm going to copy it. And now I can put it wherever I want it to live. And now my students have access to it in an asynchronous, or maybe you're doing a group setting. And at one of your table groups, you have your devices. Students can log in and get that link, that pace, place, and all of that. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. And I want to make sure that we answer all the questions, and I can walk you through some more if you want. Jenny, what do you got for me?
For questions? Sorry, yeah. I'm busy answering questions over here.
Jenny's busy.
I am. So question, if you share the link with a teacher after class, will it be a dirty copy? Dirty in quotes.
Dirty copy. It will be their own copy. It's a siloed copy. It will not interfere with your copy. You're not in the same file. It'll be their own siloed copy.
There's also another question. Is there a way to move the facts fiction around so that they are not lined up already?
Yes. When you're in the customize, you can move those little boxes. You can actually resize those boxes too. Yeah, play with it. It's really fun.
And then I just tried creating this through the steps that you said on the Google Drive, but it didn't show up there. It stayed in SLS.
Okay, I'm going to actually go over to my Google Drive right now. So for Google users, if you are a Microsoft user, keep playing and going in and adding activities and playing inside your dashboard in your library. There's just start clicking away. And I'm going to spend like 2 minutes with my Google users just because this is important. So my Google users, I'm in my Drive. And this is how you're really going to build a relationship with me, because you're going to see my Google Drive. Like if you want to get to know somebody, go into their Google Drive, right? Or their OneDrive. Like you're like, oh my goodness. All right. First of all, if you're a very first user, it's going to actually create a Smart Learning Suite folder. So like this one right here. So anything that is created is going to come into this folder for right now. Once I create inside Smart Learning Suite, and I'm going to go to another one, going to my high school file. Let's see if I have something in my high school file. So I have a genetics vocabulary notebook right here. So this is just a notebook file. This could be a PDF. This could be a Google slide. It doesn't matter which one I want. First of all, I need to convert it into a Google or Smart Learning Suite Online file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to open with, and I'm going to go into Smart Learning Suite. That's the app.
Jody, did you say it would automatically create a folder in Drive and Google Drive?
Yes. Yes. If you have, yeah, it will. Okay. So now it's actually populating. Let's see where it is going. And I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And it's not going to let me, I'm going to go incognito so you guys can see this better. But what will happen in here is, let me go back to my Google Drive. When I go in here, I'm going to go ahead and go open with, and then I'm going to go Smart Learning Suite. It's going to open up in Smart Learning Suite Online in the presentation mode. Once it is in there, you need to have that Smart Learning Suite Online app or icon, which I'm going to show you. It needs to look like this. Do you see that? Let me zoom in. It needs to have this icon right here. that means that that file has been turned into a Smart Learning Suite online lesson. Now, some of you might be curious. You're like, well, what happened to my Google Slides? It's fine. It actually leaves it alone. You still have your Google slide. And so now you just have this new Smart Learning Suite online file right here. When I want to take this, and now it's a good Smart Learning Suite online file, I'm going to go ahead and right click on it, and then see how it says share or shareable link. I'm going to get a shareable link, just like I would in Google, and then I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to put it somewhere. Okay? I can do that and put that wherever I want. One more thing is that if I'm in, let's see, go back here and sign in my suite.smarttech, you touch the 3 dots. So if I want to share this get to know you, I touch the 3 dots, I share a link, and then if I want to share it with my teacher, I click right here and then I copy that paste, or with my students. Okay? Are there any more questions?
I don't think there are any more that have not been answered by you or myself.
Okay.
Yep, I think we're good. Unless anybody else wants to chime in and ask any other questions.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys are doing, especially if you've been Smart Learning Suite users for a while.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you first started it, you imported a resource, like a PowerPoint or something. Later on, when you go back, you can't go back and add another PowerPoint or a PDF or anything. I was wondering, is there going to be a way where we can do that?
Eventually, yeah, that's a conversation that we've been having. And so what I think I hear you say is that, like, I start my Smart Learning Suite lesson with a PDF, and then you want to add maybe another PDF that you have, and you want to put them in the same file. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a conversation that we're having. And so we're definitely looking into that, because I think that's a very important thing, because sometimes we have more than one a resource, right, that we want to have live in one workflow. And that makes sense. So yeah, that one is definitely a conversation we have already started at Smart.
Awesome.
So stay tuned.
Yay.
Yay. I know there's so many things on the roadmap. I'm like, oh my gosh, teachers need this now, right now.
Because I'll have a whole Smart notebook file that I upload, and then I'm like, oh, I need this over here in a PDF. I need this over here.
I know, and it's coming. There's so many fantastic things that are on the roadmap. Like it's like Christmas, so stay tuned. There's just so many fun things. One of the things I didn't mention for those of you who have been with Smart or not, when students are in the workspace, that collaborative workspace, and you are able to drop in as a teacher, you can click on anything on that page, and you can see which student made that contribution on that page. So that's nice to be able to go in and see who is already adding some of their, constructing their meaning and all the things that they are on there. And so you can see who's playing nicely. All right, you guys, we are so almost out of time, and I am so excited. I'm hoping that your summertime jam is playing in your head. If you know me, you've been with me before, I love to leave everybody with a challenge. I believe that if you don't put it into action, that it just becomes, on the wayside. And so I want to encourage you to do some things and play with it. And you have my contact information. Jenny's going to put it in the chat again. Honestly, I love hearing from everybody. I have some really good friends that just email me and say, hey, I'm just wondering about this file. What can I do with it? Sometimes you guys spark new ideas that we can take to the developers. And so it's just really great to be connected, because we want this to work for you. And we want your workflow come fall to be as simple as possible. You've done such amazing things in the last couple of months, and we're in awe of you and everything that you've been doing. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart about everything that you've been doing. for your students and their families. For the challenge, I would love to see someone do a rank order activity. And what would be really fun to do is have your students rank the most important to the least important. And it could be anything. It could be like qualities of a friend. Like, what are the qualities of a friend, and rank them in order of how you think the most important would be. It could be equations. It could be numbers, multiplication, definitions, alphabetizing, whatever you want. But here are the directions on the challenge task for those of you who, wherever your entry point is with SMART, we have resources. So I want to challenge you on that. Also, if you know me, I'm going to make sure you have everything you need to be successful. You are going to be getting some resources in the follow-up, or if you want right now on your screen, you can scan or put in that bit.ly. And it's going to take you to a resource page that you're also going to get up in a follow-up email, just so you know. And all of these are different links for you. You're going to get all the resources from today's sessions, all of them, along with the challenges. If you are a Google user, we have a teacher guide that will take you step by step. And also we have a Google session later today with Casey, that if you're like, I really want to know how this whole integration works. Unfortunately, we already had our Teams baby, I think, about the Teams integration. So I would recommend looking at that session too. Couple more things. Number one, if you're like, hey, I want to actually join a couple more sessions, I didn't, have time to do it. If you go back to your email from SMART, halfway down, there's a little thing if you want to change, and then just put in that reference code, and you can join us. There are a lot of great sessions that are happening. Erin Klein is our keynote speaker, and she is going to be talking about relationships. And I'm like, this is perfect. So I'd love to have you guys join us in the keynote in a few minutes, and also see you online on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and shout out and follow. And I don't know, I just am all excited about having people in front of us. If you are doing 3 sessions today, you are going to get the Blended Learning Rockstar badge. So rock on, and that is so cool for you. You're going to get a follow-up email that's going to have details from the sessions that you did. There'll be a survey in there. What am I missing, Jenny?
I think you got it all. I pasted all the links in the chat that you talked about. So I think that's everything besides, the last fun, exciting thing that we need to do.
Yeah, I hope you all are hanging on because the moment you've been waiting for, what are they going to win, Jenny?
They are going to win $25 to the new Smart eStore.
Bam. And I believe there are monsters in there. And
yeah,
socks.
There's face coverings, I think, too. Are those going to be in there, too?
I don't know. I'm going to have to
so
go
many
look.
Great things.
Okay, so a winner right now. So who is
right
it?
Now, the winner. I don't know if you guys can hear my drum roll.
I can. Do it.
I have Sharon Baltzer. She is the winner.
Woo!
Sharon Baltzer, you will get an email with the information so you can collect your prize. Congratulations.
Oh, Sharon, awesome. And if you need help spending your money, right here, baby. Oh my gosh, how fun is that?
Awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. We really hope you had some fun. You're feeling like a blended learning rock star. So we're going to close right now, and please check the link in your email that you get and head to the new Zoom link for your next session or the keynote, whatever is coming up next.
Yeah, it was great. I love seeing you all, some familiar faces. Shout out to you all, and thank you. Go have a great day.
Bye, everybody.